And thank you for the support so far, supporting this show. And thank you for them that have subscribed already, them that have left their comments. Yes, keep on supporting this girl on the Journey Show. If you've not subscribed, this is your opportune time to do that. Please make sure you subscribe, make sure you click on the bell, and make sure you leave a comment. And God will bless you. So we get into it. How are you?
Doing well. Yes.
All right. Welcome to part 2 of your show.
Sounds weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, last time we you took us through the journey right from the diagnosis and to the surgery itself.
Right.
And maybe we can do some recap in terms of you're out of the surgery room or theater and you're in HDU. Maybe you can do a recap from that point.
Well, from that point after the surgery, I didn't take long in the HDU actually. I think it was just a few hours or so. And it felt like forever because yes, those are some of the things you see in movies where somebody's lying there on the bed and the constant sound of teet, teet, teet.
Yeah, those machines and cabling everywhere.
And I was hooked up to a lot of things you find patched, whatever.
You look like an engine.
There was a lot of things going on. It felt like a movie for a minute.
Okay.
And I remember I kept on asking, what time is it? I really wanted to see somebody I know. And it was quite an experience. And I kept asking that nurse. There was a nurse at the HDU who kept on now checking the vitals and everything, monitoring, how are you feeling? Are you in any pain? And during that process is when I realized another procedure that happened that I didn't know about. Now, waking up, because they had already inserted the shunt. So waking up, they had already inserted the shunt and it felt sore. Turning my head was quite painful. And then now following through that tube, I kept on touching it slowly. But by then my head was wrapped with a bandage. So following that tube all the way to my stomach, that is now when I realized, well, there's another procedure that they did. They actually had to cut my stomach for them to insert, the shunt. So I was quite surprised by that. And during that time, I was hungry as well. Remember going through surgery, you're told you're not supposed to eat, and then now you wake up. I was hungry, and I remember having some yogurt because it was past feeding time in the hospital. So I kept asking the nurse, what time is it? And it felt like I've stayed for another whole day. But then after that, I think it was almost around morning visit time. There's that time when doctors go around doing reviews.
Yes.
So now I remember the neurosurgeon came and he was like, you look great. How are you feeling? How are you doing? I was like, yeah, I'm all right. Everything is okay. And then he instructed another, now that was a male nurse who was supposed to take me around and, I need to stretch, walk out of bed. And that was like just a few hours after surgery. And I was up walking. I went round, though a little bit drowsy, but I could go round. I was active, yeah. Then from there, Izen I was taken back to the ward. Yes.
All right. So now you're back to the ward, and of course now the healing process begins. How many days did you stay?
Right from admission to the day I left, it only took 5 days.
5 days.
Yes.
So roughly 3 days after surgery.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe then at that moment, what is it that you never foresee now? Like, yes, you're out of the hospital. And most of the time people think now because you're out of the hospital, as in everything is okay.
It's done.
Yeah.
Well, one of the main things that I never thought would be there. All the headaches.
Yeah.
I thought, because before the surgery, one of the symptoms was, that severe headache, which was actually gone by the time the surgery was done. I woke up and that extreme headache was not there.
Okay.
But the constant headaches that comes with, maybe when you tilt a little, maybe because the shunt is in place, when you bump yourself into something, that whole process, I didn't see it coming. And I thought after the surgery, this is done. I might not even have to feel like the whole draining process and everything. I didn't think that would occur.
Okay.
But then it's something that is still ongoing, apparently. So that is one of the things that I did not foresee from that time. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back and discuss Corona a little bit. How was it for you, going through surgery during COVID time?
Well, it was crazy because we live in Kenya,
Yeah.
in the heart of Africa, where when somebody's in the hospital, you expect, lots of people to come visiting, and many people wanted to do that during that time.
Yeah.
But I remember that was the time when, now you see, they were having the curfews and everything. If you're going to visit someone in the hospital, they're only allowing 2 people.
Yeah.
And not 2 at the same time. One has to be in, the other one out. And it felt lonely.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe, what's going to happen? You want to see people, you want to announce you've made it out of surgery. It was a big deal. And before even that, you remember going in for surgery, the many hours they took before the surgery, and now everybody was anxious. This was supposed to take maximum 2 hours. It's been 4 hours, and and you are the only one who was there at the hospital. And I think it was stressful on your part, because okay, I knew what was happening, why the delay was there. And the whole sanitization process and everything, it was so intense in the hospital. And kind of to my advantage, well, because in the room where I was, we were only 2. And then the other person had left, so I had the whole room to myself. And it felt, well, quite peaceful, yet still stressing, because you don't see people. And you're wondering what's happening out there. Yeah.
All right, I know it's your show, but
you're tagging along.
But I also went through a lot during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that time they did a port curfew.
Yes.
The first day. Oh my goodness. How askari, they rained on people. It's they were, it's
waiting.
They were waiting. You see how you'd cage a dog for some time so that it becomes very fierce.
Yes.
That's how they behaved. Sorry. But I thank God that day I almost got in the mix. But I remember the Holy Spirit helped me, because what we never foresaw is the curfew was at 7.
Yes.
So by 7 in the evening, everybody ought to have, gotten home.
Yes.
But nobody thought that now, because it's 7, especially in Nairobi, the traffic will begin around 5.
Yes.
Yeah. So we never thought at that particular time the traffic will begin at around 2:33.
Yeah.
So I'm coming out of the hospital, and just right after, at the gates,
yes,
there's lots of traffic.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to rush home, getting their way. So I get caught in around 40 minutes in the traffic jam, and it's like another 40 minutes or so to 7. Then as we were just stuck in the traffic, the Holy Spirit just whispered to me, there is an Uber car, I think so. It was an Alto that turned. So he told me, just follow that car. So I also turned and I followed the car, because I was not very conversant with that.
With the routes, yes.
Yes. So I followed the car, and true to the word, I was I got home like 2 minutes to
7.
7. I was at the gate. So yeah.
Oh.
Now let's continue with your show.
It was quite a process.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was hectic. It was
Mhm.
hectic. And also, but in terms of when somebody is sick and
Mhm.
you're not getting people around you.
Oh yeah.
I remember, even our own mother would not travel
Yes.
here.
She really wanted to be here.
Yeah. So it was quite lonely,
Yeah.
But then again, we thank God for everything.
Yes.
Now, you're back at home. How was it different for you from the time that you left? How was life?
Well, it felt, first of all, it was the longest I took from our girl.
Yeah.
By then she was 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was 3. And when I came back, because now you see, after they took out the bandage,
Yes.
and they leave certain staples on the head, which I found quite cute.
Yeah.
But they leave the staples on the head.
Mhm.
So when I got home and, I'm trying to imagine, one of the things I thought is like, what will happen if maybe I go off medication? Because I was constantly on medication. Remember, I started with the steroids, and now all these that they have to control my brain. I'm thinking, if I miss a day, the brain is going to shut it or anything. And I was so careful, even the way I walk. I didn't want to bump into anything. And now getting home here is a 3-year-old who is really excited to see me, but then at the same time, shocked, because she could see that there was no much explanation really. She couldn't process the whole thing then. But then seeing the staples, she could, take steps back, and she would go, ouch. Like, she felt the pain. And her accommodating now me in that moment was not easy. Yeah, it was a little bit stressful. I was careful with everything, how I move, even sleeping position,
Yeah.
Personally, growing up, I wasn't used to pillows.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that has to be introduced, because you have to elevate yourself in a certain position. Here I am starting to, use pillows and everything. And it really changed. And then now with COVID, yeah, it felt like everything is at standstill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for a minute I thought, this is going to be one of the longest recoveries.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Then now, apart from the headaches, how was it different for you in terms of the way you used to do things, run, chores here and there? How did it change?
It changed a lot, because I was still careful because of, the dizziness. Dizziness didn't quite really go away immediately. So doing chores and just moving around, it wasn't easy. And I'm not the kind to just sit and then let everything be. It's not natural. That's for me. So I could try, but then, the headaches will come in. And the worst that I got to realize at that moment was, a little stress will take it even more further. The headaches will become so intense. So if I stress about anything, yeah, it will become double. Unlike the normal headache you get when you're stressed, or when you're fatigued, or when you're tired, this one will just increase. So I started learning on how to, distract myself. And also the loud music, noise, or listening to even TV or radio. You know me, I love loud music.
Yeah, oh yes. You love noise.
Come on. It's when you're in radio, these are some of the things you can do away with.
Yeah, you ought to have been a DJ.
So with even earphones, to date, I cannot have earphones or headsets for quite a long time.
Yeah.
It really irritates, and it also brings about headache. So learning to do away with things. So that is when I started now to learn what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Even certain, sitting positions then, because I was scared of the shunt all the way to the stomach. There's some instances where I would feel like it's like a muscle pull or something. So it was quite something to start, like, you relearning things that really works for me, and certain things that I just had to let go. Like now, certain volume of when I'm watching TV, I can't go by. Or when I listen to loud music, for how long can I do that? Then at what point do I stop? Yes.
And also it took time for you to, like, heal the skull itself. How long did it take for you, like, to you can be able to touch it comfortably?
Well, it took time, but surprisingly, after I think 2 weeks, was it 2 weeks or a month, we went back so that they can take out the staples.
Yes.
Oh, and the nurse who did it was just like, it's like they're cutting a piece of cloth or something.
Yeah.
There's a special scissors they use
Okay.
to cut through the staples, and then they pull them out.
All right.
And for the first time, it felt like I've got this fresh air on my head.
All right.
And I didn't touch my head until they took out the staples.
Okay.
So the doctor was like, no, there was no reason for you not to be able to touch it. You could as well as just wash it. And then you see they did cut my hair using a razor blade.
Yeah.
One side.
Oh, yes. That's very unfair. Doctors, why would you just cut one side like it's
they shaved half.
Punishment. Example, when we would not shave our head and you go to school, the teacher will literally cut the buyer, in a bad way.
In a very disorganized way.
So that your mother can go and do the rest. Anyway, I don't understand why you don't have time to shave the whole as in.
Yeah, so they did half, and I think it was with a razor. So there's a way when your head is not used to, the razor blade, it looks like as if it's scaling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was hesitant to even clean it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to touch it or maybe interfere with it. I wasn't so sure. So when they took out the staples and I was given a go ahead to go and clean my head, I think that was the first time I ever touched it. And still the shunt was a little bit sore. It took some time before I could adjust to it, because this is something foreign and it's under the skin, so it's stretching. So even turning around, I was so careful how to take turns, which side of the head am I going to use while sleeping. Yeah, so there was a lot of learning.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe you can just speak to anybody through, well, not necessarily brain surgery, but any surgery. Like what would people that surround them, what should they do, and what is required for somebody, for example, who has gone through a surgery that the healing process will take quite some time?
Well, for starters, I tend to believe before even the surgery, be able to understand what kind of surgery this is. Yeah. It could be a fracture or whatever, whichever kind of surgery. Learn and understand what is the process like. Then from there, nowadays we live in a world whereby you can learn a whole lot of things even on the internet, unlike before.
Yeah.
And now, I think back then people never even used to ask doctors what's the process like. Now you can able to ask. You have a right to ask.
Yes.
Knowing the healing process, what it entails, it becomes easier, because at times you might think you're helping, but then making the situation worse. Like for my case, the little stresses of where is this supposed to be, what is supposed to be happening, where are we getting money for food and stuff like that. Those are some of the stresses that you took care of, so that I could not really stress about it, because any little stress, in fact, even to date, it brings headaches back.
Okay.
Yeah. So you understanding right from the beginning, going to the surgeon and having all these questions and getting all these answers, it really helped with the recovery process, which is very key. If you have anyone who has gone through surgery or who is going through recovery process, the best you can do is learn and even ask what's going to work best for you. Yeah, is this comfortable? How is this going to make you feel? And also be in contact with the doctor as well, because the patient might not also understand what is required. So it will feel like you're both gambling, and it might not be nice. It might feel infuriating or frustrating. And like when you just ask, it becomes easier.
All right.
Yeah.
So before we take a short break, there are some instances that you'd think or you'd feel like you had a mild memory loss, maybe forgetting things. How was it?
Well, I remember this so well because it was during COVID. Now, that is also the time when they said, churches were, also shut down. People could not go to church. And I remember where we fellowship, we had like online. We had online church. It was going on. It was so wonderful. People joining Zoom, and it will feel like we're still in church, right?
Yes.
But then what happened when we would meet, and I remember one of our friends would request me to maybe sing a song, or I would go completely blank. To date, by the way, it happens. And it's not easy to keep explaining yourself to people and let them know what's happening. At times you just, I smile a lot, so I just smile and shrug it off. But at the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh no, I forgot. So that moment, I used to forget even the simple songs I knew, getting the lyrics. To date, there's some I don't. I really try hard to remember, but I've learned to just let it go. If I can't remember, I'll let it go. And it's not that I don't remember completely. It might take me like 5 minutes or a few seconds or so, then I'll remember. So that time I could forget a lot of things. The songs, people's names. I could picture their faces, yes, but getting to the name, I'll completely forget. Yeah, so I'll just act like, yeah, I remember you. But at the back of my head, oh no, I don't know what you
You don't remember us.
It was scary though, but I had fun with it, knowing that there was a possibility of me completely forgetting. But then this is just temporary. Yeah. So it never really took a toll on me. Although for the song bit, I was a little bit worried and scared. I mean, I've known a song for quite a long time, but then all of a sudden, when I'm asked to sing, I just go completely blank. I can't remember anything. Yeah.
All right. So we take a short break. We come back and talk about the unexpected, operation, that is your tummy.
Yes.
And the process.
Right.
Yes. Keep it here. If you've not subscribed, please just do that. All right.
You're watching The Journey Show with Achieng Mwangi.
All right, welcome back. We are still continuing with, the healing process, the journey itself after surgery. And we left it at when the point of, a little bit of memory loss.
Yes.
And there's a time you got lost in town.
Oh, yes.
And I could not believe it.
Yes, I did. Oh, you remember that? I had forgotten that. Oh, I got lost in town.
Yeah.
What was I looking for?
I think you are looking for vehicles to connect.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was after.
That was after a year plus.
After a year plus.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it was very hard to believe that you got lost, after that long time.
Yeah.
And I know especially people who have gone through the same process. It may not be, a V-shunt. It may be any type of surgery that affects the brain. They can identify with this, and that's the point of sharing, so that somebody going through the same, they'll be able to identify and know I'm not alone.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Other people have gone through the same, and of course they are still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you had an issue with the pipe under your skin and terminating at your stomach. And
Yes.
what was the worst fear did you get when you realized that had happened?
Well, first, the kind of a V-shunt I have is not removable, or it's not programmable. It's non-programmable. So it's set. It was a one thing that was set. So that means it's going to stay there forever.
Yeah.
So having that in mind, that pipe runs all the way, right from the brain all the way to my stomach. And for the very first time, you could see it. And like now it has really blended into the skin. And one of the fears I had was getting another baby. I kept thinking, well, see the way when you're not when you not you.
Yeah, not me. Not me. Yes.
No, okay, I meant to say
a lady,
when a lady is
a
expectant,
woman, yes.
yes, the stomach stretches.
Yes.
And the pipe is I think it's just beneath the skin. And it kept me worried. I kept thinking, okay, if the baby grows, does it stretch with the pipe? Will it disconnect? Will the fluid from from the cyst still drain into the stomach the right way? And that fluid, by the way, it came with a whole lot of constipation. It's been a lot of it took a lot, the healing process. So those are some of the things that I kept on wondering, like, will it ever happen again, or is this a done deal? We're not getting another baby after that.
And you really used to question Dr. Jiru a lot about it.
Yes. I remember one time I asked him about it, and he said, or one of the questions I asked him was, so how long can somebody stay with the shunt? And he was like, forever. It's amazing how surgeons are. And I say this respectfully, the doctors who've mastered their craft, they have this way of telling it out without making it feel like it's so simple.
Yeah.
They don't give you all the details, the pi r squared of no. And I asked him, okay, do people get to live long with this shunt, or what am I looking at here? And he asked me, do you think you'll live forever? That question still hurts. But he was just trying to take my mind off of it. Because that is one of the things that's also scared me so much. I used to think, does it reduce my life expectancy? Yeah. But two things happened through the healing process.
Yes.
Because I was now also out to search and understand what kind of life are people living, those who have shunts, how is it like for them? And I bumped into a group on Facebook where many people, it's a group of almost 5,000 people who have been brought together because of the shunt. So these guys share their experiences.
It's a shunt community.
Yes, it's a shunt community. So these guys share their experiences. And I remember bumping into one of the posts that asked, how long have you had your shunt? And there's a guy who said they've had their shunt for almost 65 years.
Wow.
And reading that, I felt encouraged. I started feeling comfortable. I started not minding the headaches too much, because anytime I will get a headache, I would think, is there a problem with the shunt? Is something amiss? Is there something I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing? So having joined that group, it helped me to now understand it's part of it. I just have to know what I'm working with or what I'm supposed to do. And then also the question of having a baby.
Yes.
I still got it in that group when somebody said, they've had their kids and they've had the shunt as well.
Mhm.
But it was scary.
Okay.
It was scary.
Yeah.
And I was so eager to have another baby.
Which you did.
Yes.
After how long?
Well, that was after 3 years.
Mhm.
After 3 years.
After 3 years.
Yes.
So what went through your mind when first you learned that you're pregnant in conjunction with the shunt?
I was scared. I thought at some point I'm going to get complications because of maybe the way the pipe is placed. Will it stretch? Or how will my mind adjust to it? Yeah.
All right.
So I went through the whole pregnancy just hoping and trusting God that, it's nothing wrong is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then also the fact that, when a woman is pregnant and you're going through pregnancy, the delivery bit is not certain. It's until you get there is when now the doctor might tell you, well, you're going to deliver normal delivery or through a cesarean. So that is also another thing that rang in my head.
Yeah.
Like, what if I get there and they say it's through C-section? Do I have to alert the doctors?
Yeah.
Like, I have this shunt, it's all the way to my stomach.
Yeah.
What if they tamper with it because probably they have no idea of what it is? And I also got to realize many local hospitals, they have not so much information on it.
About it, yeah.
Because even when I was doing my clinics, antenatal clinics, I indicated on my book that yes, I have a scar. It's due to the surgery. I have a V-shunt placed in. So anytime I would go for clinic, they would ask, what is this about? How did you get this? Do you think it has complications to it? So the fact that they themselves didn't have the exact information also scared me.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, do I really have to go back to Dr. Njiru, the surgeon, to inquire? And I remember there's one time I went and asked that question. What now? What am I supposed to expect? And he just smiled and told me, moving forward, I'm not going to give you any kind of medication. If you ever feel headaches or you just do the normal paracetamol or that is the only thing I can recommend for you. But just go through it. You don't require anything special for it. Yeah, so him telling me that, I felt, well, this is it. It's just me and God. Yeah.
All right. So the assurance that the surgeon gave you and the outcome,
Yes.
how do you relate them? As in, now to you, the real experience that you got.
Well,
was he right? Like, you can go through the process normally and,
Yes, he was absolutely right.
Okay.
Yes, he was right. And it's just that before you get there, you never think it's going to be okay.
All right.
It was scary, but actually it went pretty smooth than I thought. Yeah, I didn't have any complications in relation to the shunt.
Yeah.
Just normal pregnancy, nausea and all that. And even the first trimester, I thought it was because of the shunt, reacting to the baby and all, but no, it was just the normal, symptoms of pregnancy. And that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So talk to somebody now who maybe is going through that process now and who is worried, who doesn't know what happens. What would you tell them?
Well, no one is assured of tomorrow. Let's start from there. No one. We all get scared.
Yeah.
We all feel some type of way. You're not so sure if to go ahead with it or not. But with the right information and also trusting in God. Because at times you might get a report from the doctor and, it might look like, it's real. Yeah, what they're telling you, it's real. You maybe you can't have another child or you can't do ABCD. That's according to the doctor's report. But at the end of it all, God knows. We've had those You've heard stories of people who've been told maybe you will not see 2 weeks in time.
Yeah.
You'll be gone by then. But here they are 10 years down the line.
That's true.
Yeah. So get the information as much as you need to. Be on the right track. Get to know what works for you.
Yes.
But after all that, let God handle now the rest.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the journey is possible.
It is possible. It is doable.
All right.
It is possible.
All right.
Yes.
So we'll be trying to get maybe a neurosurgeon. If we can get the exact one who did the procedure, I think that will be better. If we don't, we'll still get another one so that we can understand from, you know, the neurosurgeon's point of view of what a V-shunt is, why they put it the way they put it, in terms of what you've experienced, what could be triggering such. And I think that would really help them that would be interested to know more about what a V-shunt is, or any other kind of, craniotomy.
Yes.
Surgery.
Exactly.
I got it right.
You got it right.
For the first time. This is your boy. So thank you so much for always joining in, and thank you so much for the support so far. Keep on subscribing, keep on sharing. If you can share with a friend, especially them that really need to hear such an encouraging a story, share with them. Let them know that at the end of it all, the journey is possible. It's a journey, yes, but it's possible with God. Your parting shot.
Well, I look forward to getting an info from a neurosurgeon for that. And more is yet to come. Not just my story. My story was an intro. There's more to come. Oh, we might be having his story as well.
Do I have one? I'm not sure.
we might.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for subscribing, for leaving a comment. You can share with your friends. And I look forward to seeing you more on this channel. Thank you.
All right. That's it. Bye-bye for now. Mwangi Achieng.
The Journey Show with Achieng Mwangi.